Because we don't have more work.
Do you have a way to mute everybody, or can everyone mute themselves when we start so we don't have background noise?
To the Secret Life of the Skunk art workshop, featuring our lovely local artist, Kate Garchinsky. Wave, Kate. Kate has done various programs for us throughout the years, all from her beautiful series, The Secret Life of. She has Secret Life of the Fox, Secret Life of the Bat, now Secret Life of the Skunk, written by Laurence Pringle and all illustrated by Kate Garchinsky. Kate studied illustration at the University of Arts in Philadelphia with a focus on nature and children's illustration. And it's always a joy hearing from her and seeing her beautiful works of art. They're so sweet and whimsical, and it's always cool to hear what all goes behind it. She researches the wildlife extensively, and the whole process is just fascinating. So I'm excited for everybody to hear from her today. And if everybody can just take a minute, if you haven't already, to just grab a notepad or a piece of computer paper and a pencil, whatever you have around, so you can sketch along with her. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. You don't need any special art supplies. Just fun, casual lunch and learn today. I'm Blake Gall, Nature Education Coordinator for the Willistown Conservation Trust, and I like to just give a brief intro to the Trust for those of you who may not know, although most of you are familiar faces, but in case anybody's tuning in on Facebook, the Willistown Conservation Trust is a nonprofit organization, land trust, that has been preserving land in the Willistown area, it's Newtown Square, since the 1970s. And over the years, in addition to simply preserving land, our mission has really evolved to largely include connecting people to the land and inspiring in people a lifelong love of the land and nature. And so we've developed over the years some really robust programs that many other land trusts don't have. So we have a bird conservation program, we have regenerative farming, we have habitat stewardship, and our newest watershed protection program. And all of these programs work synchronously to illustrate how people and nature can coexist harmoniously. So I invite you to check out our website to learn more, which actually is going to have a makeover next week, incidentally. And before we give the stage over to Kate, I just want to let you know some upcoming things that you can get involved with at the Trust, especially if you're feeling anxious about who knows what the fall will bring. You want to get outside as much as you possibly can while the weather's nice. We have Just Show Up Volunteer Wednesdays at Rushton Farm. You can come all day from 9 to 4, or just a few hours, or even just an hour. And it's fun. It's hard work, but it's fun. Just pre-arranged with Fred DeLong, the director of the farm program. His email is there. You may be harvesting or weeding or helping sort vegetables for the farm share, all kinds of good stuff. And then on Thursdays, we have our stewardship volunteer days, and that's in the morning from 9 to noon. We have 3 beautiful nature preserves, Kirkwood, Ashbridge, and Rushton, and they all need lots of work. And so that you want to contact our preserve manager, Mike Cranny, and you can come out for that. Okay, so without further ado, Kate Garchinsky, take it away. And I'll stop my screen sharing here.
All right.
Stop share.
There we go. Am I on? Am I unmuted? Okay, good. Hi, everybody. I do see some familiar faces from some of our events that we've done before. I'm really happy to be able to connect with you, even though we can't connect in person. This is really fun. I've been doing a few of these and I really enjoy it. So So yes, like Blake said, I'm an illustrator, and I've been doing this. I've been doing books for about 5 years now. And so I have these 3 books and a book about ospreys, and the next one after this one, I'm going to show you a sneak peek of the cover when we're done with the skunks today. So I was looking through some of my old art, and I found one that I thought was kind of funny. This is from when it was 1982, so I would have been 74. I can't do 8. I was 8, and this was kind of like my diary. So we had found a cat, and so I drew the cat. And I just want to show you that I didn't start out drawing the way I draw now. I drew like a kid draws, and I drew a lot of Pac-Man for some reason. I was really into Pac-Man. I guess the way Pokemon is really big now. So anyway, so I wanted to just kind of give you a little taste of what my art used to look like. So it takes a lot of years and practice and going to art classes to learn how to illustrate books. So let's get started. The Secret Life of the Skunk. I did the same kind of materials that I did the other books, which are aqua crayons. It would come in something like this, and water and pastels. So maybe you'll be able to see the texture in the illustrations, which I'm going to share for you now. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to read the book, and you guys can read along at home. But I want to make sure that you guys know what a skunk sounds like, so that when the time comes to sound like a skunk, you can join me and do the skunk sound. Raise your hand if you know what a skunk sounds like. Anybody? It's kind of a mystery, right? You don't usually hear them say anything, do you? They don't bark, they don't tweet, they don't whine, but they do make a sound that it's hard. I don't even know what you would call it. It's a and if you look on YouTube when we're done here, you'll find some videos of skunks making these sounds. So anyway, and this book is dedicated to my nephew Grayson. Okay, now I have to get rid of this little screen here so I can read the, oops, it's going without me. There we go. Let's see, I have this thing, there we go, okay. So this is the beginning. Warm, so warm. 5 baby skunks snuggle in the fur of their mother's belly. See all 5 of them? Before they were born, their mother made a cozy bed of soft leaves and grasses for them in a secret underground burrow. By the early March, air is chilly. The newborn kits have very little fur on their bodies. They cuddle close to their mom. They are all striped skunks, the skunk species that lives in much of North America. For a few weeks, their eyes do not open, but the kits can taste, feel, and smell. They taste their mother's rich milk as they nurse. They feel their leafy bed and their mother's fur. They smell their den's earthy odors and their mom's sweet, musky scent. At night, the mother leaves the den to hunt for food. She prowls and scurries through the fields and forests and backyards. She sniffs and digs. She gobbles down some earthworms, an apple that fell from a tree last fall, a mouse, and some seeds spilled under a bird feeder. Skunks are omnivores. They eat both plant and animal food. The kit's father is not around. Male skunks do not help females raise their young. The kit's mother hurries home to nurse her kits. That is a picture of my house in the corner, not the one with the lights on, the one in the very tiny far corner there. As weeks pass, the kits thrive. They grow fur, grow bigger, and more playful. They romp and wrestle in their secret den. They play just like puppies and kittens do, a little crazy. Their home is dark, but light glimmers down the tunnel that leads up to the den's entrance. Bird songs waft down into the burrow. The kits wonder about the world up there, outside. Sometimes a kit starts to climb out. Mom grabs it by the loose skin on the back of its neck and carries it back to the nest. The kits stay in the den, still nurtured by their mother's milk. When the kits are about 5 weeks old, they venture out at night. Mom's away hunting, so the kits explore and play. If they hear a strange animal approaching, they rush into the burrow. If they hear the familiar sound of their mother's soft paws coming near, they greet her. They sniff at the face and fur they know so well. One night in early June, the mother leads the kits away from their burrow into a rocky stream. For the first time, the kits hear the music of flowing water. It tinkles, splashes, and splashes. It gurgles, burbles, and babbles. At the edge of a quiet pool, the whole family drinks. Skunks see very well close up, but not far away. The kits don't notice the stars twinkling in the sky. They do, however, have keen senses of hearing and smell. Up close on the ground, there is so much for the kits to discover and to eat. In a field, their mother catches crickets. In a lawn, she digs up beetle grubs, larvae. Yummy! The kits eat and begin to learn how to find their own food. Each summer night, the skunk family leads a secret life. In the dark, they are almost never seen. And each summer night, the kids eagerly learn more. As they move along, Mom always leads the way with her kits just behind. Skunks on parade! Each black and white kit has a different stripe pattern. Sometimes they are so close together that the skunk family looks like one big black and white creature flowing above the ground. The skunks especially like rainy nights. Digging is easy in the wet soil. Also, on some nights, they find treasures, like a compost pile full of vegetable and fruit scraps, plus squirmy earthworms. The kits squabble over tasty bits. The night air is filled with skunk voices. They squeak and squeal, chirr and twitter, and they go, ambling along on a warm June night, the skunk family is startled by loud barking. A dog rushes toward them, then stops. That's my dog. The kits huddle by their mother. She faces the dog, raises her bushy tail, and stomps her front feet. She hisses and clicks her teeth. These are warning signals, but the dog growls and steps closer. Quickly, the mother skunk arcs her hind end toward the dog, raises her tail, and sprays a powerful dose of musk from her rear scent glands. She aims well. The dog yelps and runs away. And it will hopefully never do that again. The mother skunk defended her family well. Her kits have grown enough so they, too, are armed with a strong smelling spray. They seldom use it. Most big predators are simply warned away. It is midsummer, and the skunks leave their secret den and find safe places to sleep above ground. The kits have been weaned. They no longer nurse milk. Sometimes one young skunk, or 2 or 3 together, may go looking for food without their mother. They are becoming independent. Summer is a time for skunks to feast On just one night, a young skunk might eat a spider, 2 crickets, 5 beetle grubs, 13 wild blueberries, and 18 larvae from a bumblebee nest. Ooh. The young skunks grow bigger and bigger. They roam farther from their mother. They lead risky lives. Simply crossing a road can be very dangerous, and young skunks are sometimes hunted by great horned owls. You know, great horned owls can't smell, at least not very well, so they don't care if they get skunked. As summer slips into autumn, all of the skunks eat a lot. They store fat in their bodies that will help them get through winter when food is scarce. In their winter dens, they will be dormant, sleeping most of the time. On a chilly autumn night, the mother skunk meets one of her young. They sniff one another's faces in greeting. Perhaps they both remember springtime when the young skunk was just a kit. It nursed, snuggled in its mother's fur, and smelled her wonderful musky scent. The end. There's just a little bit of information on the screen about where you can find me online. I'm on all of the social networks, either as Kate Garchinsky or Kate Snowbird. And I like to post pictures of the projects that I'm working on as I work on them. So right now I'm working on a book about sea otters. So I will be posting sketches of sea otters very soon. But you see in the corner there, down on the bottom right, oops, that's the next secret animal, the sloth. Very different from all these other animals. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If I can, there we go. Yay, okay. All right. Did everybody learn a little something about skunks that you didn't know before? Yeah. Does anyone want to, Blake, maybe we could do it this way. So while I'm drawing, if anybody has like a question they want to ask, you can unmute them and I can talk while I'm drawing.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Maybe wait till I get started and then when you feel like it's a good time. So I'm going to do these. And I figured that we would draw the skunks that are on the front cover. So let's see if I can get this up here without it falling down. It's tricky. Well, that should keep it from falling completely off anyway. Okay. Yeah, there we go. You guys can kind of see that, right? Okay, so when you're drawing skunks, you don't need a whole lot of colors. It's actually one of the nice things about skunks is that they are literally black and white, but not, you know, if you have, a few of you have cats, right? So one of those cats I think I saw was a black and white cat. Sometimes when you see your pet cat or your pet dog laying in the sunshine, you'll notice that their hairs have a little bit of a different color in them. Like a black cat might have some brown in their hair when you see them in the sunlight. So it depends on how bright the sun is, how dark that black is. So in this picture, this is kind of early morning, so they're pretty black right there. But if they were in the sunshine, they might have some brown. So I'm just going to get my black, my gray, and I'll do a little bit of green on the ground there. I've got my crayons, aqua crayons. And a skunk is kind of like a weasel, more like a weasel than a squirrel, because when a squirrel runs, they kind of hop, 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 hop like a rabbit. But skunks are not related to squirrels or rabbits or mice. They are not rodents. They're in the weasel family. So rather than having rodent teeth, you know, like a rabbit's teeth, they have a full set of teeth like people do. That helps them with their diet. They don't have to gnaw at things the way rodents do. So I'm drawing just a puffy thing for a tail. These are baby skunks, so they're not super long. You got some big bellies, and their legs are short. And skunk feet kind of look like cat feet. They have little foot pads, and then they have long nails that stick out. And actually, if you think about it, their body is kind of like a little cat. But because they don't see very well, they don't need to see well, their eyes are very small. They're like little dots. And they don't really need to hear much because they don't talk a whole lot. So their ears are like kind of flat up against their head like a person's ears or a monkey's ears. They're just like little round ears. And then the most important part of a skunk, you might be able to guess based on what they do out this end, is they have a big nose. Their nose is very sensitive and pink and bulbous, and they use it to help them dig those earthworms out. So they've got a very good nose. And then their head's a little flat. They got a short little neck. And they're pretty close to the ground. And they arch their backs like cats do. So, you know. I don't know what's happening. You can't see that. Okay. And their tail is kind of like a dust mop, in that it kind of goes straight up and then the hair comes out from the middle, or like a feather, like a big fat feather. And they can make it curl in like a letter S. You can make it like a letter S, or they could curl it backwards, they can curl it down like a backwards letter J. They have a lot of control over their tail position because they need to be able to move that tail when it's time to spray. So, and then their stripes, like it said in the book, every skunk has a different stripe pattern. So they don't all have 3 stripes. These both have a black in the middle and then white on either side. But if you look at their faces, I've got one that almost looks like a little heart, and the other one has a stripe down the middle of his face. Just like cats have different patterns. Even though you might have 2 black and white cats right next to each other, they might have very different locations of where their whites and their blacks are. Even striped cats, their stripes are all different from one another. So I'm going to give this one a dark stripe in the middle. And that's going to kind of come up his head a little bit. And I'm going to, where the white is going to be, I'm just going to leave it white, because it's hard to make something white once you've already colored it dark. So the white is going to be, it's not exactly white, it's gray right now, but this is the black part. And then their stripes kind of lead up to their tail, and that stripe pattern continues up on their tail. And then they have a little white toupee, a little puff of white on their heads. Some of them will have black. Some of them have, most of them have, like, that I've seen, have a little white. It's like a mohawk.
And just to remind everyone, if you haven't already, you can click on the upper right-hand corner speaker view, and then it will make Kate's screen bigger so you can see more of what she's painting, what she's drawing.
That helps, yeah. There's a little ear. And I'm gonna, the tricky part when I was drawing the skunks for the book was how to be able to show their eyes when their face is all black and their ears are kind of hidden in there too. So I would just make it a little bit lighter around the outside of their eye rather than having it go one black thing next to another black thing. And when they go fast, they run the way like a weasel or a cat or a dog with like all four paws like this, which was something I didn't realize that they did until I saw one in person at the Academy of Natural Sciences. They have an education skunk there named Hamilton. And he is named after the Hamilton we all have heard of, right? And he really loves sweet potatoes and carrots and corn, a lot of vegetables. And he did not spray me because he had his spray. He was descented, which is kind of like when you have a cat or a dog and you need to get them fixed or so they don't have babies. It's an operation. Because he doesn't live outside, he doesn't need his skunking ability. And it would be really hard to keep him inside if he could spray. That would be really bad. Okay, so my crayons are aqua crayons. I like to use, I have brushes. Some of them have water inside the brush. And then I have spongy brushes, and I have big fat brushes and medium brushes and all different brushes because they all are good at something in particular. So when I want to do something that's kind of big and swooshy, I'll use a fatter brush. And because these are watercolor crayons, I don't have to add paint. The paint is already in the crayons. And that's why I love these so much, because they're not messy at all. I can, it changes the color a little bit. Now this black is turning like a little brownish, but that's okay.
Kate, can you get those watercolor pencils from any art supply store if anyone was interested?
Yeah, there are a couple different brands. They're called water soluble crayons or aqua crayons. This brand is a little expensive because it's like a professional grade, but they're called Carandash Neo Color 2 water soluble crayons. But I know that I think Sakura is another brand that's less expensive. They have student grade and child grade versions of these. And I've got so many colors. Like I've just got tons and tons and tons of colors. It's a lot more colors than you find in a regular crayon box. And they're very intense. You know, when you're drawing with a crayon, I have one regular crayon in here somewhere. When you're drawing with a regular crayon, they're a little waxy. So sometimes you can't make them as dark as you want them to be. I did have a crayon. Oh, here it is. So here, this is a black crayon, so this isn't going to be too light, but You know, you can't add water to that. It just stays permanent. But this, you can actually finger paint with these too. Sometimes I do that. And people also use them for face paint because they're non-toxic. I've never tried that, but maybe someday.
Halloween's coming up.
There you go. You just have to be careful if you're allergic to any particular, if you have a skin allergy with certain colors. I know some kids and adults have problems with certain colors like reds or whites. So he doesn't have, he's missing his pink nose. And they're not always super pink noses. Just like, again, a cat might have a little pink on its nose, or it might be completely black, but you see like a little pink like underneath the nose. But the nose is really, beside the eye, other than the eye, it's really the only area that doesn't have hair all over it. And I always like to add a little bit of pink inside an ear. Well, you might not see that in a skunk that's walking around on the street. You'll just kind of see like an indentation there. But I like to add a little pink so that you can see where the ear is. And around the eye, you can have a little pink around the eye too. Just like you have a little pink under your eye, inside your eyelid right there. And they've got some big nostrils, so they can snort, smell the earthworms under the ground. Okay, crazy tail. And I have white. The other thing I can do with these, I swear I'm not doing like a commercial for these, I just like them a lot, is I can dip the crayon in the water and it becomes squishy, and I can add, let's see, it's just gonna smear the existing dark that's there. So I'm not gonna do a whole lot with that, but I do have pastels. And pastels are something I use on top of these paints, because I can take a white pastel, that has a little yellow on it, and sometimes, yeah, I can add the white back, because this is a very soft pastel. So it's chalk. It's like chalk. You can try chalk too. I'm gonna add an extra stripe because I can. And they have 4 legs, but you're not seeing all 4 legs at one time, but they might like do a little, when they're curious, they'll do this with like a leg, like they're pointing like a dog.
Anybody remember from the story what else besides earthworms the skunks eat? I thought that was really interesting to learn about what all they eat. Let me unmute. Maybe I don't have, Oh, there. I unmuted you, Kelly. I don't think Kelly's your name. You're probably your mom's name. What's your name?
Will. Will.
What? I will. What else?
Blueberries, larva, bee larva, and grass, I think.
Bee larva and beetles and grass, maybe no, but the other ones are right.
They like fruit and vegetables. So
and
if
the
you think
blueberries,
about,
yeah, omnivores means they eat like us, a little bit of meat, a little bit of vegetables, but probably not grass. You don't like grass either. Dogs like grass, but
Yeah.
nice. I'm gonna unmute Julia there. Hey, Julia. Hold on. There you go. Now you're unmuted.
I was also gonna say that they're like things found in compost bins.
Mhm.
Yeah. Old fruit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they don't mind if something's a little rotten.
I've actually heard they'll even eat mice. Is that true, Kate?
That sounds right. And they are omnivores. I would think that they would have to be very small mice.
Yeah, maybe if they found a mouse nest and ate the babies or something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
There-
unmute you.
In the back of the book, there's some more information
Oops,
about this stuff.
you're unmuted there, Miss Etherington. Remind me your name. I never keep you guys all straight. What's your name?
Lucy.
Lucy. I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to be wrong. Hi, Lucy.
They also eat
Crickets.
Yeah, crickets.
Mm-hmm.
Juicy crickets.
Yes. Ooh.
Good job.
And earthworms come out. They often, you know how sometimes there'll be a storm in the summer and like after the storm, the earthworms are up on the sidewalk. You kind of see more worms around. So it's said in the book that they really like rainy nights because the earthworms come up out of the ground. It makes it a lot easier for them to find them.
Yeah, I always notice after it rains that it just smells wormy. Like you can smell that earthworm smell outside.
Is that what it is?
I always
like-
think it is.
I like that smell a lot.
Rain and earthworms.
Yeah.
Has anybody here ever seen a skunk live and in person? Or has your pet found a skunk? Let me unmute Will there. There we go.
I saw a skunk at a nature center.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. That's cool. Was it in a cage or was it like running around? Or?
And at school.
I gotcha. Cool.
Ah.
Anybody else ever seen a skunk? Be in the wild in your yard? Let me unmute. I don't know why this is always, my clicker doesn't unmute people very easily. I don't know what that is. Oh, whoops. Okay, unmute you. Why so hard?
one day his aunt saw one. My aunt's dog, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah? Where?
In the backyard.
Backyard.
What did she do when she saw it?
I don't know, because my mom told me, and my mom didn't tell me the whole. It went back apparently. I don't know.
Okay. What do you think you should do when you see a skunk?
Probably either stand very still and maybe they won't notice, or just run for your life.
All right, I unmuted Julia there.
I think I saw a skunk once at like at like a kind of like zoo-ish, but not exactly a zoo. It's more of like a wildlife preserve, but there was a skunk in a cage there, so that they could teach people about skunks. Also, one time on our trip to Florida, we smelled a skunk. But
Oh,
they,
Yeah.
Yeah, that smell
Dogs
evokes.
smell disgusting.
Some people actually like it. I had a middle school English teacher who loved the smell of skunks because it reminded her of her childhood out in the country. That
Oh.
sense of smell is one of the strongest senses tied to your memory. So some
Yeah.
people like it because it's like reminiscent of things.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
Lucy, have a question?
Yeah, unmute. There. Oh, there. Now you're unmuted.
My old dog Buddy got sprayed by a skunk before.
A dog, your friend's dog?
My dog.
Your
Oh.
dog.
Oh, did you have
Ah.
give him a, when they say tomato bath or something?
We tried.
Yeah, that apparently is a little bit of a urban myth now, or a wives' tale, because it doesn't really work well. But you can there are soaps that are really good at getting the skunk scent out that they sell at the pet stores, like the pet supply stores. That I think they're enzymatic cleaners. It's an oily substance. Maybe that's why people would try tomato juice, because it's acidic.
Yeah.
I don't know, but then you just have to get all the tomato juice off the dog in addition to getting the scent, and you have a skunk smelling tomato dog.
Yeah.
It's even worse. Always look on the internet.
Another question down here. What's your name?
Charlotte,
Hi, Charlotte.
I've never seen a skunk before, but there was one that was living at the end of my street once, and we smelled it.
Oh,
Mm,
yeah.
It was disgusting.
yeah.
There's a
Sarah?
special formula you can use to get rid of the skunk smell.
Oh, okay.
Get rid of the scent. Gotcha.
Do you know what it is? Did you look it up?
It's some like weird chemicals that are like in
Mhm.
soaps and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's
Is
why I
that-
always keep my dog inside at night, or he would definitely probably find a skunk. Do you guys have any other? Oops, I'm sorry.
Oh, that was me. I was going to say, I know that there are skunks living where I live because I've seen and smelled skunk sign. I've seen their dens. They have dens that have, it said in the book, they have a front and a back door. So a groundhog den is just going to be one hole in the ground and pretty wide for a groundhog. Or wait, no, I'm getting mixed up with the foxes. The foxes have the front and the back door. The skunks don't have a back door. The skunks like to burrow under things like sheds. I've seen images of them where they burrow kind of like off the side of the road into an embankment. And there were some skunk smells near a den of some sort around here, but I never saw the actual skunks. 2 people have come to my house and seen a skunk in the driveway, and I've never seen one myself. It's very disappointing. Does anybody want to show their skunk that they've drawn? No? Okay.
You can just hold it right up. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, there you go. That's awesome.
They're excellent.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
wow. Those are all great. There's no way you could mistake any of those animals for anything other than a skunk.
And I love how each one is different, just like real skunks.
Yep. Wow, that's a cool angle on that one. Before I did this book, I didn't know how to draw a skunk. I had to learn. I had to practice a lot. I love that, Lucy. It looks just like the one I drew.
It really does.
It really does.
Yeah, I couldn't find the black, so I just had to use the purple instead.
Yeah,
That's why it's
that's fine. Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Sometimes I'll add colors, like if it's gonna be kind of boring as just a black thing, like a dark black. When I was, okay, example. not making sense. Where did my book go? When I was drawing the skunks, my husband, I was kind of complaining to him because I was like, I have to draw black, mostly black. They're black and white, but mostly black animals in the dark at night in a cave. So if you think about it, if you actually went into a burrow and tried to see a skunk in the dark at night, you wouldn't see anything, right? Because it's too dark. So I have to use my artistic license, as they kind of call it. It's sort of a joke. There's no actual license, but this skunk, the mother skunk in the burrow, I have just this like indication up around here that there's light coming down into the burrow. And this might be like late at night or early morning when it's not really bright out yet, but it's just enough light to show what we need to see. And you can't see like every detail on the skunk because there's a shadow, they're in shadow, and the babies, you can't see every little hair, you just see the white on their backs. So I'll use colors that aren't necessarily visible with the naked eye on an animal, but if you use your imagination, like this skunk right here at night, her tail is actually a little bit like a light blue, where it looks like it's white. Because if I made it bright white, it wouldn't look like nighttime. And then here, these guys are in their burrow, and if I just made it a dark burrow, then you wouldn't see them at all. So I made it kind of a yellowish brown. Does anyone have any other questions? No? It's like lunchtime, right? My lunchtime anyway, I got up late.
Anybody have any other questions for Kate or anything else about skunks you're curious about?
No.
Kate,
I'll show you.
Oh,
Go ahead. Well, I was going to show the big front cover of the sloth.
Oh yeah,
when
definitely.
we're done.
I was going to ask you how I know you usually observe live animals sometimes to like get their personalities for your paintings, and wondered what you did for the skunks. Since you don't have a yard, you said.
I know, right? I contacted the Academy of Natural Sciences, and they have education animals. There are live animals living in the Academy of Natural Sciences that you don't see. They're behind closed doors because they only bring them out for educational purposes. So there's a whole room full of animals. Porcupines are so cool. So they have Hamilton the skunk lives there. So I made an appointment, and I sat at a table, and Hamilton's keeper puts Hamilton on the round table with like a waterproof tablecloth in case he had to pee, which he did. And so I took some video of him, and I did some sketching of him when I was sitting there. And I have those sketches someplace in my files, and I have video, and he was really cute. I was only allowed to touch him very lightly because he's very shy, because he's only known like one person his whole life. So I was able to touch just a little bit of his hair on his tail, and it was very soft. So that was my reference.
Cool. And I know you said you for the dog in that one page, you used your own dog, right? Barking at a stuffed animal that you used in the tree.
Yeah, my dog Maggie. She unfortunately she passed away, went to Rainbow Bridge last year, but I'm really happy that I put her in this book, because now she's in a book forever. It's kind of cool.
Aw.
And in the back of the book, you get to dedicate things to people, and Maggie wanted to let everyone know that no dogs were harmed during the making of this book.
No
because
dogs
she
were
did.
sprayed.
Yeah, no dogs were sprayed. She would have been embarrassed if that were the case. Okay, so there's a skunk. So this is the first people to really see this whole image. Going to be the cover of The Secret Life of the Sloth. And it's about a mother sloth and a baby sloth.
Aw.
And that one, I did not get to see sloths in person because they live south of the equator. And there are none of this kind of, there are sloths in the Philadelphia Zoo, but they're a different kind of sloth than these ones. But we'll talk about that when that book comes out.
Cool. All right. Anybody have anything else you want to add or questions for Kate? Does anybody here want to be an artist like Kate when you grow up? Oh, we got one.
Yeah.
Well, kind of an artist and like some other job with animals as well. Because I really like both of those topics.
Yeah.
Julia was a Rushton Nature Keeper. Unfortunately, the Rushton Nature Keepers is paused for now because of lovely COVID-19, but Julia is very talented with her art.
Yeah.
But there are a couple other hands. What do other people want to be here when you grow up? Will, see if I can unmute you here. Here, I don't know why that gives me so much trouble. All right, there
we go.
There you go.
I would like to be a zookeeper.
Oh, cool. Taking care of sloths. I worked at the Philadelphia Zoo and when I was in high school as an intern. They've got internships there you could do someday.
Yeah.
Cool
I
stuff.
always wanted to do that too.
What, did you have something else to add, Will?
Yeah, my friend's grandpa runs the Philadelphia Zoo.
Cool.
Wow.
Very cool.
That's a cool grandpa.
Yeah. All right, how about Lucy here? Let me see if I can unmute you. There. I don't know why that gives me so much trouble.
I want to be a vet when I grow up.
Nice. That's what I wanted to be when I was your age.
Do you want to work with dogs and cats, or do you want to work with wild animals?
I want to work with all sorts of animals.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. You could even be a vet at the zoo with Will.
Right? They need vets too, yeah.
Yeah. Those vets are really, really rare. They have to be able to learn how to work on like rhinoceroses and all kinds of stuff besides just dogs and cats.
That's cool.
Anybody else?
Terry with her hand raised?
Charlotte. Yeah, let me unmute you here. I have to click on the button multiple times for some reason for it to actually unmute people. There we go.
I would like to be an interior designer when I grow up.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
That's a kind of art.
Yeah.
You do a lot of drawing with that too.
Cool.
My mom is an interior designer.
Really? Well, you guys should talk.
Cool. And how about Susan here? Huh. Did I mute you? What happened here? There we go.
You did it. I would also like to be a vet when I grow up. And how long do skunks live?
Good question.
Because what I drew, I have an 8-year-old skunk here.
Oh, I think that would be like a grandmother or a grandfather skunk. They don't live very long, but when they are somebody's pet or they're living in captivity, they live longer because they're safe. But when they're in the wild, they get in accidents with cars a lot. And yeah, sometimes if you're driving on the road and or you're in the car and you smell skunk smell all of a sudden, it could have been because a skunk had an accident with a car there, because the smell just stays there. So because they lead very risky lives, they don't grow old. Maybe I put it that way. Birds are the same way, right, Blake?
Yeah, although this summer we were doing some of our breeding bird surveys, banding in the woods of Rushton Woods Preserve, and we caught some old birds that they had bands on them that we had originally put on like 10 years ago.
Whoa.
Yeah, we had a 9 or 10-year-old veery, a 9 or 10-year-old ovenbird, which is a tiny little warbler that nests on the forest floor. And it's really amazing that because these birds travel to Central and South America, and then they come back to Rushton Woods, find their way back. And to think that they did that journey, 10 years, that's, how old are you guys here? It's about almost as old as you guys, or maybe older than some of you guys. So that's really cool. It means that our habitat is safe for them, and then they're able to find good, safe habitat for overwintering as well, which hopefully stays that way.
That's neat. Oh, that reminds me, my book Belle's Journey that I came and did a talk about a couple years ago.
Yeah.
About an osprey. So that bird had a satellite transmitter on her back. And when I started illustrating the book, the transmitter battery stopped working. It was a solar battery and it stopped working. So we could no longer see where she was. But just this year, somebody saw a bird flying where she is known to live, and it had a broken antenna on its back. So the backpack is still on her. And it has to be her because Rob, that wrote the book, he knows every bird that has one of these antennas on because he put them on. So we know that she's alive.
Cool.
And she's a male. And so he had his first nest this year. And I think he's about,
Bye, everyone.
I think he's 8. You leaving?
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for coming, joining us today. That's cool, Kate. That's really cool.
He might even be 10 years old now. Yeah, I have to look up.
I know you like to leave calls, but let's check.
Yeah, I think there's a lot we don't know about nature and the natural world. There's so much more that we have to learn, and who knows, there could be a 12-year-old skunk out there. I'd say skunks aren't hugely studied.
Right? They aren't.
Who knows?
That's a good question.
Be a skunk scientist when you grow up. A skunkologist.
I'm going to find out how long they live because I should be able to answer that question when people ask. That's a good question.
Okay, Will, I think I unmuted you.
Why did you choose to write the book about skunks?
Great
Why
question.
did I choose to write the book about skunks? Well, actually, I didn't choose it. So I illustrated the book, but the author is Laurence Pringle. And he is the one who has chosen all of the animals for these Secret Life books, except I got to choose the next one after the sloth. I chose the sea otter because I think sea otters are the cutest animal in the entire world. And I had to draw some animals that weren't necessarily super cute, like sloths are a little weird, and bats are kind of like, people get creeped out by bats. Skunks are cute, but people are kind of weirded by their scent, but there's nothing that you can be weirded out by with a sea otter at all. So they approved of my animal, finally. I'd really like to do penguins. That would be my dream animal.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I need to get going. So if anybody has any questions after this, contact Blake and she can send them to me. If you want to take a picture of your skunk drawing and send it to me, I can, and get your permission, I'll put it on my Instagram. Yeah, that's it, I guess, for my part here.
Thank you so much, Kate. It's always a pleasure to have you and get to see your talent.
Look at that.
We got a
Will.
skunk there.
You've got a big nose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for
Thanks
coming
everybody
out.
for joining. It's so good to see all your faces.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try to start doing some more, like maybe once a month, connecting on virtually. So hope to see you soon.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.